A very good evening, dear viewers. Thank you for keeping us company this Monday, a day that saw the much anticipated Sustainable Blue Economy Conference kick off at the KICC in Nairobi. We do hope that your week has kicked off on a positive financial note as well. I am Karanja Daniel, ready to bring you up to speed with all news causing waves across the globe. And as you know, we are all about business. Here is a glance of all the news-making headlines in the business world.
Maritime transport has risen globally, with cruise ships being identified as the fastest growing sector in the marine leisure.
What is the sustainable blue economy? Letting the numbers do the talking.
Investment opportunities in this sector.
The Sustainable Blue Economy.
Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, Nairobi. The D-Day is here.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is committed to contribute to a better and much more prosperous world.
While leaders commit to sustainable blue economy, what are they promising?
Of the promotion of the blue economy.
Women outside our movement who we share a common value to run for elective office.
Women and the blue economy. Are women folk beneficiaries?
And the winner.
The Real Estate Awards Gala Dinner. Whose construction is the best?
Marketing manager, please join the stage.
For a while now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has seen a flurry of activities as it put together the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference. The day finally came, but the question begs, what is the blue economy and why does it matter? Our reporter Daisy Wambua breaks it down for us.
According to the World Bank, the blue economy is sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods and jobs, and ocean ecosystem health. Some of the economic activities include generation of renewable energy, fisheries, maritime transport, and tourism. The World Bank then further notes that the blue economy contributes about $1.5 trillion per annum to the world economy. This is represented by 3% of the global GDP. It creates approximately 350 million jobs in the maritime sector. According to the National Ocean Economic Program in 2010, it is estimated oceans contributed over $258 billion to the USA economy. That represents 1.8% to the GDP of the country. While in China, the oceans contributed $962 billion, which represents 10% of the country's GDP. In Indonesia, it is estimated that oceans contributed a whole 20% of their national GDP. Regionally, countries like Mauritius, Seychelles, Madagascar, and Comoros collectively have a GDP of $22 billion due to the policies and frameworks that support the exploiting of the blue economy. Locally, Kenya earns about $2.5 billion per year from oceans, which is less than 4% of the GDP. The sustainable blue economy is faced by challenges on a global and national scale. Climate change, poor governance, inadequate human and technical capacity, as well as financial constraints are the global obstacles that hinder exploiting of the waters, while border disputes, illegal fishing, and pollution by plastics are experienced in the country. Oceans have been termed as the world's 7th largest economies due to their contribution to world economies. And with Kenya currently managing a mere 1% of the ocean's territory, it is clear that with the proper investment, potential to reach the 30% set by 2030 is achievable. Reporting for Brand Plus TV Business News, I am Daisy Wambua.
After months of preparations, countless media briefings, and a number of press conferences, the long-awaited day has finally come. The Sustainable Blue Economy Conference has kicked off today in Nairobi at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Our senior reporter, Ondiro Oganga, was present and filed the following report.
The Sustainable Blue Economy.
Coming to the continent for the first time, there was no better place to host it than Nairobi, Kenya. Delegates from across the world, all brought together by one cause, Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, speaking in one accord, sustainable practices.
The Nairobi Statement of
Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Monica Juma has been headlining the news lately, but for all the right reasons. Her docket a few weeks ago saw the successful launch of the Kenya Airways direct flight to New York. Today, she added another feather to her already decorated hat with the kickoff of the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference. The conference brings together leaders from all over the world with one common purpose: exploitation of the world's waters responsibly. As the cabinet secretary in charge, it was only fitting that she gets the tone of the conference. During her address, Ambassador Monica Juma said that for a long time, Kenya has depended on land. However, the results have been far less than desirable, and the conference wouldn't have come at a better time.
For years, our development has primarily been driven by land-based resources. Obviously, this has not fully delivered the desired development goals. Inspired by the need to accelerate the achievement of the SDGs and called upon by our President Uhuru Kenyatta to respond, Kenya, Canada, and Japan decided to host this conference. We are grateful for this partnership, and to those who joined us as co-sponsors or participants, we also extend our gratitude. Excellencies, our oceans.
Ambassador Juma went on to say that the blue economy bears great economic potential that Kenya could tap into, which would in the long run benefit the people of Kenya.
Excellencies, our oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers are natural capital that we can tap into in order to accelerate economic growth, in order to create jobs, and to fight against poverty. They also provide an avenue for addressing challenges such as climate change, pollution, and ecological degradation. Therefore, over the next 3 days, we shall have strategic engagements on the promotion of production and conservation sides of these resources.
Of dealing with pollution,
with the environment at the core of the blue economy, it was only befitting for Kenya to state her stand on environmental matters. This obligation lay on the shoulders of Cabinet Secretary Environment Keriako Tobiko. He pointed out that population growth has increased human demand and terming it important to protect the environment through sustainable practices to attain a balance in the ecosystem.
Sustainable economic activities and conservation of the environment are mutually reinforcing. As the world population grows towards the 9 billion mark by 2050, the demand for resources is also increasing exponentially. All nations have no choice but to think of new and innovative approaches that can meet the soaring demands for human needs, including food, shelter, and healthcare. This conference is about how we protect the environment and how we maintain viable ecosystems. Waste management, pollution control, as well as the fight against climate change are at the core of these efforts. As the ministry responsible for the stewardship of environment, forestry, climate change, and meteorological services in Kenya, we are committed to providing the leadership needed to ensure that conservation positively reinforces economic growth and development. We have taken bold decisions to ban single-use plastic carry bags and instituted strict extended producer responsibility for PET bottles. An illustration of this positive reinforcement of conservation and blue carbon economic activities is evident along our coastline, where communities have come together to plant mangroves, exploit seaweed farming, develop greater open sea fishing capabilities, and enjoy the benefits of sea seaside tourism. Some of these communities are benefiting from the sale of value-added seaweed products, while others like Mikoko Pamoja are benefiting from carbon credit.
Blue economy.
The stage has been set and the agenda of the conference placed on the table. All that remains is for leaders present to state their positions on the matter. Reporting for Brand Plus TV, Amondero Oganga.
The inclusive.
Now, the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference is one of the biggest events to have ever been hosted by Kenya. It has seen over 10 heads of states and other senior government representatives jet into the country to pledge their commitment to the sustainable blue economy. Our reporter, Daisy Wambua, brings us the commitments made.
Being the host president, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta was the first among the world leaders to give his commitment to the sustainable blue economy. He stated that Kenya was ready to adopt policies that will help harness the blue economy as well as create opportunities for the people.
And to this end, I am here to join you as I also make our pledge as Kenya. I am convinced that for the sake of present and future generations, and for the continued viability of our ecosystems, we have to envision a different future and therefore a different model for the blue economy. I pledge to envision that future and to do my part to promote it. I make the pledge in recognition of the need to first adopt appropriate policies, strategies, and mechanisms to harness the blue economy, to re-energize our national economies, and to create greater opportunities and jobs for our people.
He went on to state some of the plans that have been put in place to improve the maritime sector in an effort to ensure that the blue economy takes root in the country.
First, as a government, we will take steps to build on and expand institutional governance mechanisms that are already in place to enhance coordinated management of the blue economy. These include the Blue Economy Implementation Standing Committee, as well as state departments for fisheries, maritime logistics, and transport. Secondly, we will and are taking measures to revive our maritime transport by building and expanding our ports and shipping facilities and partnering with global shipping lines to extend our maritime reach.
Kenya's neighbors were present and their leaders equally affirmed their support for the sustainable blue economy. His Excellency Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, the Somalia president, pledged his commitment by stating that they are developing a strategy to tap and harness sea economy.
We'll continue to actively seek international cooperation to address these issues. We believe with the transparency and enhanced cooperation and advances in technology and satellite capabilities, we should be able to curb these activities.
The United Republic of Tanzania.
His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Shein, President of Zanzibar, spoke on behalf of the Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli, who stated that they were ready to integrate the blue economy by setting policies that will govern the use of the marine areas.
Tanzania's priority in integrating blue economy principles are centered around mobilizing policy and financial resources, as well as formulation of legal frameworks to support improvement of our oceans, lakes, and riverine ecosystems.
He went on to reiterate Tanzanians' commitments towards the blue economy adoption in the region.
The United Republic of Tanzania's commitment towards mainstreaming the blue economy policy development, fostering social and economic inclusion, mainstreaming climate change's dimensions, and environmental sustainability.
While Uganda is a landlocked country and therefore does not enjoy a coastline, nevertheless, it is rich in inland water bodies, and for this reason, Uganda President His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni gave his country's commitment toward the sustainable blue economy, focusing on the threats that some activities on land pose on sea bodies in form of pollution.
We here on the mainland, our main problem is soil erosion. what causes soil erosion? Interfering with the vegetation. Because God had arranged everything by planting forests and grass, so that when it rains, the runoff water, you call it runoff. English is poor, they don't have enough words. Runoff. I don't know what they call it in Swahili, but we in our language there we call it omtunga. The water which is running on the ground. Omtunga. We shall get a word in Swahili. So this runoff, when you remove the vegetation, that vegetation would act as a filter so that the water, the runoff, as they call it in English, enters the river or the lake where it is soil-free.
Canada, one of the conference's co-hosts, had Jonathan Wilkinson, Minister of Fisheries, Ocean and the Canadian Coast Guard, while pledging their commitment, highlighted the need for cooperation in addressing the challenges in an effort to maximize on the potential of the blue economy.
Canada well understands that addressing these challenges and accessing opportunities cannot be effectively addressed by any one country or any one actor acting alone. Significant and sustained progress will only be made through collective discussion, information sharing, and the development of deep and effective partnerships.
He went on to state the new plans that they have put to continue investing on marine areas.
Domestically, Canada has taken significant actions relating to ocean health and to economic development related to oceans. For example, we are presently implementing a $1.5 billion oceans protection plan that is focused on enhancing marine safety and addressing concerns regarding marine biodiversity to protect Canada's coasts and its waterways. As part of the HE process, Canada has committed to protect 10% of our marine and coastal areas by 2020, and we are well on our way to meeting this target.
Become a more
Japan, who is the second co-host of the conference and a world leader in the blue economy, had Honorable Masahisa Sato, State Minister of Foreign Affairs, represent them. In his address, he outlined the pillars of the blue economy.
Japan fully supports the three basic concepts of the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, namely prosperity, inclusiveness, and sustainability. We now have to seriously consider how to act on them.
He then went on to pledge Japan's support for other countries in the adoption of the blue economy.
Will be a springboard to convert the idea on blue economy into concrete actions by picking the brains of governments, scientists, academics, companies, and civil society.
As leader after leader pledge their commitment to the sustainable blue economy, there is a gleam of hope for the future where the world enjoys more resources while protecting the source of those resources. Reporting for Brand Plus TV Business News, I am Daisy Wambua.
Now, on that particular promissory note, let us head for a short commercial break, but do stay with us as we still have more news and stories lined up for you on the other side, including some awards. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the most comprehensive, exclusively business news bulletin, and of course you're watching Brand Plus TV. Now let's keep it matters still blue economy. The Canadian High Commission, in conjunction with the International Development Research Centre, co-hosted a forum for women and the blue economy, paying special focus to lessons learned from the field for better equity and participation. The forum was a side event at the ongoing Sustainable Blue Economy Conference being held at Nairobi's KICC.
I take very special note of the fact that the
event brought together women from all over the globe engaged in the blue economy sector, whether directly or indirectly. According to Tamar Mansi, First Secretary Development High Commission of Canada, the event was meant to set the stage for women to have conversations around issues impacting them with regards to the blue economy.
A very exciting opportunity of bringing all countries around the world talking about one common topic, which is the blue economy, and how we can all be able to leverage and to use our resources to make sure that we are meeting our sustainable development goals, but also we are meeting our goals to the communities that we support and we serve.
That allow planners.
Further to this, Secretary Tama went on to say that the blue economy can play an integral role in economic empowerment of women, not just at community level, but at the global level.
I think if we do a quick math and we think that our society, 50% of our society are women and girls. So if we talk about this, it means that we have almost double the potential that already exists. So if we know that now fishing sector, for instance, if we give an example, is mainly dominated by men, even though we know that statistics say that 85% of women are working in industrial fishing, but it's mainly dominated by men. So if we double that by including women and making sure that they have a role to play in that sector, then we're talking about unprecedented growth in terms of economic empowerment. And let's imagine that a young fisherwoman in the Tana River or in Mogadishu or in Kilifi that are able to own their small-scale business. They can own their own boat and they can be able to provide to their families, and they can work and support other women groups and being able to provide more potential, not only for themselves, but for the community that they support. So I think the potentials are there at multiple levels. If we look at it at the global level, if we look at it at the community level, and we could look at it at the individual level, I think we have a lot to be offered in that sector.
Because she went for it.
However, even as blue economy continues to pose great opportunities for women, Jemima Njuki, Senior Program Specialist Agriculture and Food Security Program, IDRC, noted that massive marginalization still exists, with some subsectors of the blue economy having few to no women practicing.
We also know that a lot of them are in fish processing. A lot of them are in fish trading, and we do not find enough of them on the other parts of the sector. So we do not find enough women in fishing, in shipping, in research. We still, right now, just 1 out of 4 researchers in the agriculture sector, and I would assume in the fisheries sector as well, is a woman. So although we are saying the place of women is along the whole sector, we also know that there are some parts of the sector that are still marginalizing women,
as well as those who've graduated.
As if marginalization is not enough of a challenge already, Margaret Nakato, Executive Director, World Forum of Fish Harvesters and Fish Workers, went on to point out that women have to deal with other challenges such as poor market prices.
Most of the fishing communities have got poor infrastructure development. There's no water, there are no roads, there's no sanitation, there's no health center, no education. So these are some of the challenges which women face in the blue economy, but that is part why my organization came into force.
And training that we all need.
Further to this, Njuki highlighted that women continue to face barriers in the sector, both visible and invisible.
Barriers like access to finance, barriers like, low markets for fish, opportunities for women to participate in those aspects of the blue economy. But we also know there are other invisible barriers around gender norms and social norms, where it is not, in some communities, it is not acceptable for women to be in certain parts of the economy, and those are the ones that we are saying we have to change.
To fix some of these challenges, Njuki says relevant stakeholders must be aware of the numbers and potential that women bear in the sector.
Women are already in the sector. There are parts of the sector where they are still marginalized, where norms are still stopping them from getting into those sectors, but women are already in the sector. We need to support women. We need to make their contribution visible, because if that contribution is visible, even the policies and programs that we formulate are going to support women because they are visible.
Present by the doc.
Nakato was emphatic to realize its full potential. There must be interdependence between all sectors and priority given to the blue economy, just like it's being given to other sectors.
We need to recognize the interdependence of the resources. Like, you need land to be able to go to fish. You need land for women to be able to process fish. So every activity should be able to understand and ensure that such interrelated activities are not look at one activity as the one that need to be promoted, but we need to look at a comprehensive, integrated manner of approaching the blue economy, and not look at it as an isolated case, like only look at mining, or look at fishing, or only look at land. Everything has to be taken into consideration.
And because this is not helpful.
With the affirmative action debate being rife in the country, it provides an opportune time to extend the debate to other sectors of the economy, and the blue economy, which has now global focus, will be a great place to start.
It's my pleasure to present.
And finally, the government is fully committed to see the fruition of the housing agenda, a pillar of the Big Four agenda. These remarks were made by the PS State Department of Housing, Mwaura Hinga, during the Real Estate Awards Gala dinner.
Jumpstart of the Year Award. And the nominees are...
The black tie event attracted relevant stakeholders in the real estate sector, with the PA State Department of Housing Mwaura Hinga as the chief guest. However, before the celebrations began, the framework of the Big Four agenda had to be addressed.
So it's good tax planning.
First to be addressed was the high cost of construction. To this, PS Hinga was emphatic that it's time technology was incorporated into constructions to bring the cost down.
Cost of construction is extremely high. And it is high because some of the building codes that we are using is as old as 1947. World over, people have moved on. They're talking about 3D printing.
He further went on to say that the government is reaffirming its commitment to the agenda by meeting private developers halfway through streamlining structures to create an enabling environment for them to operate in.
As government, we've said we are going to package land because we have a lot of land that we are not using. We are going to service that land. And this affordable housing program is not about government building houses. You all know that anything that we build, we don't do well. Westlands Market taken 9 years, Karatina, I don't know, 14, and the story goes on. So you do well when it comes to development. So we are going to package this land. We are going to release it to you as developers at no cost to you.
We start with the first award.
After the pertinent issues were addressed, it was time for celebrations. The award categories were diverse, with businesses being featured in areas such as Green Technology of the Year, Affordable Housing Initiative, among many others.
Ladies and gentlemen, Legend of the Year Award goes to Professor Olive.
The most celebrated winner of the night was former Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor Professor Olive Mugenda, who was awarded Legend Award for her prolific work at the helm of the university. Prof. Mugenda termed the award as an honor.
I am very happy that I won that award, and it is in recognition of the work I did when I was the Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University. And I'm happy because it was a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice to do that work and to achieve what we achieved. And normally you don't get to be appreciated, but all the same you're happy because one does that for the service of humanity and for God and for just personal satisfaction and career. So when an organization like this one recognizes that work, then I feel very honored and privileged.
In line with the event's theme, she went on to challenge other public institutions not to maintain status quo, but pursue excellence in both infrastructure and academics.
I like the concept of raising the bar, because I think a lot of people just want the status quo. They just want to maintain what they found. And for some of us, for example, when I went to the university, that was my goal, to raise the bar, to raise the standard. And for students and staff and the country to know that you can have a public institution that is very good. You can have a public institution that works. You can have the buildings that are good, offices that are good, and bathrooms that are good. So that was the bar I was trying to raise, and I think we achieved that. And I think it's very important that we don't just be satisfied with the status quo, and we try to, make whatever we are doing, do it in an excellent manner.
Excellent. A big round of applause for them, please.
Other notable winners of the night were GTC, who won Most Iconic Commercial Project of the Year, and Buy and Rent, who won the Property Web Portal of the Year award. For Brand Plus TV, I'm Ondiro Oganga.
Now, on that particular housing story, let us shift gears and take a look at how the markets performed today. Here is a summary. Now, for a more in-depth analysis of the markets and opportunities for investment in the same, do make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at exactly 8 a.m. for my next big bet with Reton Derito and myself. Let us turn our attention to matters weather now. That was it from our business news desk tonight, but do make sure to tune in at exactly 9 p.m. tomorrow night for a fresh serving of news making headlines in the business world. Do have yourself a lovely night.